Nature isn't kind, and neither am I.
Hey guys, it's Slaka, and today I'm back with a guide on one of my favorite heroes in the game, Lunara. Lunara is a ranged auto attack hero that does really strong AoE damage and scales quite well into the late game, given that her passive Nature's Toxin scales at 5% as opposed to the regular 4%. And she's not too hard to play, but I'd say that you have to get used to positioning her well, as well as attack moving with her unorthodox movement. You can see here, you can see as you move around, her movement kind of jumps. I guess that's to do with her hops, and you just have to get used to attack moving and positioning well to really learn how to master the hero and play it well. With that being said, I'll go into maps and comps where you can pick Lunara. Generally, Lunara is not a very map reliant hero. She's more likely you're picking Lunara due to the comp that you're going to be facing, or the comp that you'll be playing with, and she honestly, the map choices, they don't really matter at all. You could say Battlefield's her best map, but it really doesn't really matter. With that, going into comps, Lunara's, because of her AoE damage and her poison, when you stack it up, she's very strong into single target healers who can't deal with the AoE damage in a sustained team fight. So she's really good into healers such as Medic, Uther, those kind of single target healers that won't be able to deal with the damage over time in the fight. And that's when she's generally picked in competitive games. She's not very good into heavy dives such as Genji and other very divey heroes such as Illidan. And she also isn't very good into healers that have very good AoE healing that can deal with the dot damage, such as Malf and Stukov. So I wouldn't recommend picking her into those heroes. With that, I'll get into her abilities. Her Q, Noxious Blossom, you just chuck it out. That's the range on it. Has an 8-second cooldown, 60 mana. Does a bit of damage and it applies your passive. Not too much else to be said about it. The W, costs 40 mana, 10-second cooldown. You have your poisons on the target. You press your W, it adds an extra 3 seconds to the poison. And it applies, I think, a 40% slow that decays. Yeah, 40% decays over 3 seconds. So yeah, it's just really nice for when you dot everyone up with your poison and then you W and refresh it all. The Wisp, this is not the greatest ability, I guess, because it could be like, I don't know, a combat ability, but it actually is a quite nice utility ability. It's very nice when you can go scout out a boss or a camp or something that you're not sure where the enemy team is. You just chuck it out, and you go place it in a brush. I think it takes 2 hits to die, and it gives you vision for a short amount of time, and I think it has like a 45-second cooldown. And it has actually there's some nice ways you can use it to possibly help you that I'll go over later in the tips and tricks. I think I'll go over ults later, but we'll go over the passive as well, which I should have gone over first. But Nature's Toxin, every time Lunara deals damage to a hero, either with abilities or with auto attack, she applies, as you can see, 1 stack of the poison. And I think it does an amount of damage over 3 seconds, stacking up to 9 seconds in total with 3 stacks. And this is pretty much the main part of Lunara's kit. Everything else in her kit revolves around the passive, just stacking up the poison as much as you can on as many targets as possible. And that's where the bulk of her damage will be coming from. With that, I'll get into the talents. In the first tier, I'd recommend going Natural Perspective. It's just generally nice having the vision revealed on enemies in fights, and if they were to dip into brush while they have poison on you, you never really lose sight. And it's also because the rest of the options on this tier, none of them are really good or useful at all, and Natural Perspective just gives you a lot of utility that's really nice. With the level 4, Nimble Wisp is the go-to 90% of the time. I've seen in some pro games, such as some of the Koreans, they like to take Time Loss Wisp, which makes the Wisp recharge a lot faster while it's not active. This can be quite good since it gives you a much higher uptime on your Wisp when it is killed, and it's pretty much giving you a ward a lot more often than with Nimble Wisp. But Nimble Wisp is a lot nicer when you want to go quickly scout something quite far away, as you can see. I'm pretty sure the Wisp has unlimited range with how far you can send it, so with that Nibble Wisp is really nice. Level 7, the talent you want to be taking pretty much 100% of the time is Splintered Spear. There's like, I'd say it's probably Lunara's best talent overall. I think it's the biggest power spike. This basically is when you Q, your next auto, it chucks out, I think, up to 4 extra autos. It gives you 4 extra autos and each one of them applies your poison. So then you do that and then you W and you apply the poison to everyone. It's just so nice for applying her poison to as many targets as possible. And I don't really think there's any other real options. The rest of these is like, you can take them, but honestly you're picking Lunara for the heavy AoE, sustained AoE damage. And Splintered Spear provides that the best. If you're taking one of these other ones like this basic attack damage, you may as well play another auto attack hero. So yeah, I'd say Splintered Spear. Going to the level 10s, I think most of the time, given that you will be facing with some dive heroes or some kind of CC, Leaping Strike is the go-to, generally. Just because it provides you with that, the leap, the gap closer, it does actually decent burst damage and it gives you the unstoppable frame, so you can dodge some CC with it. However, in some situations where they don't really have like a heavy dive comp, they don't really have like a high mobility assassin such as Genji that can get onto you quickly. Thornwood Vine is actually quite good against some heroes such as Uther. It really helps with stacking up your poison, so it really is a very situational talent on this tier. But I'd say most of the time you just be taking Leaping Strike for the utility and escape. With level 13, I'd say most of the time you're going to be going Unfair Advantage. It gives you 50% more damage to your poison when the enemies are slowed. And pretty much that's the whole basis of Lunara's kit, is just getting the poisons out. And making it do more damage is just like amplifying the amount of damage she does in a team fight. The other options that are okay, I guess Giant Killer. I have taken this sometimes into some heavy frontline comps such as Diablo. But you shouldn't really be focusing on getting heavy single target damage. Getting the poison over time is actually, I'd say, the best for sure. You can go Spell Shield into some really heavy ability power comps, such as maybe a Genji diving on you with Dragon Blade. You pop this when he E's onto you and you take almost no damage. Maybe for Li Ming's comboing you, but yeah, I don't think you should be taking the defensive options most of the time unless you really feel like you need it, and so that's why I say Unfair Advantage. Level 16, Starwood Spear almost all the time. The attack range is just way too good. I think when you use it, it gives you, how much is it? 8.2 attack range, which is I think the highest in the game other than Sergeant Hammer. So that's just very, very nice. You can pretty much just pop it and then you can just start attacking from downtown, very far range, and you can just keep applying your poisons to whoever. I think the other options are like maybe attack speed. Maybe if you took Giant Killer and you need to shred a tank, I guess, but I think 90% of the time you're going to be taking Starwood Spear. Going to the level 20s, I'd say 90% of the time you're going to be taking Galloping Gate. The movement speed is just too nice. It's 80% for 6 seconds and it's on a very, very low cooldown. It's only 30 seconds. So you can pretty much always have this when you want it, and it lasts for a very long time. It's just way too good utility wise, and you can also use it to maybe chase down an enemy if you need to. The other options, Forest Wrath's okay if you take Thornwood Vine. Abolish Magic, I've taken this maybe like once or twice if you really need the cleanse for something, I don't know, on your healer or something. It's an okay talent, but I just think Galloping Gate provides way too much for Lunara in terms of mobility, which she does lack quite a lot. With that, I think I've covered everything to do with builds and talents. I'm going to get into the tips and tricks of Lunara. The first thing I want to get into is blocking blocking tower bullets and fort bullets with your Wisp. Sometimes you could be tanking something to get a kill on an enemy hero. Say for example, if I hit this Arthas and I can just quickly chuck out my Wisp, I think it absorbs 2 bullets, so that can really save your life in some situations, or a teammate's life to help drop aggro off the turrets or forts, just to help you dive easier or not die in some situations. So using the Wisp for absorbing turret shots is really nice. Another one I want to go into is preloading your Q. With Splintered Spear, it gives you a buff. On your next auto, you shoot an auto at 4 other targets. However, with this talent, you can preload it. So I just queued just before, and what I can do is I auto, Splintered Spear, and then Q again and auto right after. And that gives me, like, the Splintered Spear pretty much doubles up. So I get a Splintered Spear, and then I can just instantly Q and Splintered Spear again, so for like maximum poison application. This is really nice if you know that you're about to get into a fight or something, and you can just quickly Q somewhere, and then right before you get into the fight, you auto, Q, auto, and you've applied Splintered Spear to almost the whole team, and you just have your poison stacked up to almost max already from the jump. One last tip I want to get into is learning how to use your ulti properly. Leaping Strike for dodging CC and other abilities. The Leaping Strike, it has an unstoppable frame. So if you can see a CC coming out, such as a Muradin stun or an Arthas root or something, you can time it with your ult to remove it and basically avoid a lot of CC. Another very useful tip that I've found in some competitive games is if you're getting tethered by a Maiev, or you're getting caged into her Warden's cage, you can jump over her or jump over another target and you don't get bounced back from the Warden's cage or from the tether. It's really good at escaping that kind of stuff, where you know that a CC is going to come out on you and you can just leap to avoid it completely. But you're going to learn how to use it better and better the more you play Lunara. I think that's pretty much the last tip, and I think I've covered everything to do with Lunara. If you have any questions you'd like to ask or any comments, please leave them below, and thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more videos.